This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Is Merlion saying China Construction America is stonewalling them? And the government is hopeful that they can sign an agreement with the doctors by February. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, the 24th of January. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan. We're going to go into the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. And in the overnight, Sarkis Merlion's BML Properties Limited has accused China Construction America of stonewalling its attempts to gain basic information amid an ongoing legal fight, and has asked a U.S. bankruptcy court to appoint an independent examiner to investigate the dealings between CCA and its affiliates to identify any instances of fraud or dishonesty before and during its Chapter 11 filing. The request came in a motion filed by BMLP in a New Jersey bankruptcy court yesterday. This is the latest development in a saga that has played out over many weeks between Merlion, the former developer of the multi-billion-dollar Bahama Resort, and CCA. And Minister of Labor Pia Glover-Roll yesterday said she believes that the outstanding industrial agreements with the Bahamas Doctors Union and the Consultant Physician Staff Association can be finalized and signed by early February. She said both unions returned to the table last week after participating in a broader strike organized by the Trade Union Congress last week, in which several affiliates stayed home from work for 2 days due to the frustration over outstanding industrial agreements and other trade disputes. And Minister of Labor and Public Service Pia Glover-Roll also said yesterday that a survey is being conducted to determine whether public servants want the bi-monthly payments, noting that the government will not force a change to the timing if employees are not in favor of it. And 2 men were on Thursday charged in connection with separate fatal collisions that took place in 2024. Joel Gilbert and David Herrera appeared before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carol Vogt Evans on charges of vehicular manslaughter. Gilbert is accused of knocking down Robin Roll Benacourt on June 12 as she crossed Miami Street. Meanwhile, Herrera is accused of causing the death of his passenger, Hansel Strawn Jr., when he collided with another vehicle. The incident happened around 4:30 a.m. on August 31st. Both men were not required to enter pleas to the charges when they made their initial court appearance. And a man accused of a triple murder remained unmonitored for months due to an oversight by prison officials. Eltario Monroe was supposed to have his movements tracked while on bail for the October 29, 2021 murders of Kenneth Yulin, Gromiko Simonet, and Justin Cash, who were gunned down outside a house on Prison Lane. Monroe was initially tagged with an ankle monitor when he was released on bail for the murders, but he was thrown back in prison for 8 months in November 2023 after he pleaded guilty to violating his bail conditions by failing to check in with police consistently. Monroe was released from prison in April 2024, but officials didn't put an ankle monitor on him before he was released. The error came to light last week when Monroe appeared in the Supreme Court to have his bail conditions modified. Monroe sought an address change and a curfew extension. When asked about his ankle bracelet, Monroe admitted that officials released him without putting one on. The court approved the bail variation but ordered Monroe detained until officials put on an ankle monitor. In news overseas, asylum seekers push to new extremes in Mexico after Trump's border crackdown begins. When Diana Castro heard that the U.S. asylum appointment she waited over a year for was canceled in an instant, she had no doubt she was heading north any way she could. The 25-year-old migrant, her husband, and her 4- and 7-year-old children had nothing left at home in Venezuela. They already had trekked the perilous Darien Gap jungle dividing Colombia and Panama, and criminal groups that prey on migrants like them. Castro was one of tens of thousands of migrants across Mexico with appointments to apply for U.S. asylum at the border, scheduled out through February until President Donald Trump took office and issued a series of executive orders to beef up border security and slash migration. One ended the use of the CBP One app that allowed nearly 1 million people, many seeking asylum, to legally enter the U.S. since January 2023. And Israelis are awaiting the names of the next 4 hostages to be released by Hamas as part of the ceasefire deal. Relatives of hostages still being held by militants in Gaza called on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Friday to ensure all remaining captives are freed, while also appealing to U.S. President Donald Trump to continue pressing for their release. As a fragile 6-week ceasefire between Israel and Hamas entered its 6th day, Israelis waited anxiously for the names of the next 4 hostages who will be released from among the more than 90 still held in Gaza. Let's take a look at sports now. And Bahamian Valdez VJ Edgecombe and the Baylor University Bears secured a hard-fought 70-62 victory over the Kansas State University Wildcats at Foster Pavilion in Waco, Texas on Wednesday. Led by an outstanding performance from the Bahamian freshmen, the Bears rolled to victory, overcoming a double-digit deficit in the second half. They improved to a 12-6 win-loss record, 4-3 in the Big 12 Conference, while the Wildcats dropped to a 7-11 overall record. 1-6 Big 12 Conference. Edgecombe scored a career-high 30 points with 20 coming in the second half during the tide in Baylor's favor. His efficient shooting included 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from three-point range, and an impressive 11 of 12 from the free throw line. He contributed 3 assists and 1 rebound. And University of the Bahamas Mingo's men's soccer squad came out of the Christmas break with a 7-0 victory over Cavalier FC at the Roscoe A.L. Davies soccer field on Sunday. They were led by a hat-trick hero midfielder Kevin Thomas. 4 other players scored a goal apiece in the win. Thomas said, "Coming from the Christmas break, we wanted to set the tone for the second half of the season. I was happy to get 3 goals today, 3 good goals. I'm happy just to help the team. And Bahamians fall short at the Great Abaco Classic. Aldrich Potgieter, a 19-year-old from South Africa, made history on January 22nd, winning the Bahamas Great Abaco Classic at the Abaco Club on Winding Bay. Potgieter's two-stroke victory made him the youngest winner in Korn Ferry Tour history, surpassing Jason Day's previous record. At 19 years, 4 months, and 11 days, Potgieter is also the youngest winner on either the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour since 1931. In sports overseas, an injured Djokovic quits mid-match and walks off to booze, putting Zverev in the Australian Open final. Novak Djokovic as he left the court in Rod Laver Arena after quitting one set into his Australian Open semi-final against Alexander Zverev on Friday. Dealing with what he said was a torn muscle, Djokovic lost the opener 7-6 when he put a forehand volley into the net, then began shaking his head and immediately walked over to shake Zverev's hand. 37-year-old Djokovic packed up his equipment and walked off toward the locker room, pausing to respond to the jeers by giving 2 thumbs up. At his news conference, Djokovic said the pain in his taped left leg was getting worse and worse. He heard it during his quarterfinal victory over Carlos Alcaraz on Tuesday night. And the AP NFL MVP finalists are Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson. Those names are finalists for the Associated Press 2024 NFL Most Valuable Player Award. Barkley, Burrow, and Jackson also are finalists for Offensive Player of the Year, and Burrow is also in the running for Comeback Player of the Year. The winners will be announced at NFL Honors on February 6th. A nationwide panel of 50 media members who regularly cover the league completed voting before the playoffs began. That's the overnight. That was your look at sports. Time for your first look at weather. And your forecast for today, a gale watch is in effect for the northern and northwest Bahamas and will come into effect for the central Bahamas by tonight. Occasional to sometimes frequent winds, gusts to gale force are possible over all waters in the northern and northwest Bahamas. Mariners and boaters are urged not to enter the Atlantic waters due to an ongoing swell event. Your general situation, a low-pressure system just north of the northern Bahamas continues to shift northeast of the area, while dragging a weak cold front southeastward across the central Bahamas. The front will reach the southeastern islands by tonight, and strong gusty winds to near gale force will build over the northern, northwest, and central islands by this afternoon. A high pressure will build across the islands on Saturday, promoting strong gusty winds with gusts to possible gale force. Along with rough seas, winds will remain strong through the weekend and begin subsiding on Monday through the remainder of the week. In special weather notes, beachgoers are asked to refrain from entering Atlantic coastal waters due to the high risk of rip currents and rough surf. For the northern Bahamas, weather partly cloudy and breezy with occasionally overcast periods, a 20 to 30% chance of rain. Winds northwest to north at 15 to 25 knots. Your high temperature today, 73 degrees. Your low Fahrenheit, that is, your low 70 degrees Fahrenheit. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy and breezy, less than a 10% chance of showers tonight, increasing to 10 to 30% tomorrow. Winds westerly at 10 to 15 knots, increasing to northwest to north at 15 to 25 knots this afternoon. Your high temperature today, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Your minimum 72 degrees Fahrenheit for the central Bahamas. Weather partly sunny, becoming variably cloudy and breezy this afternoon. Less than 10% chance of rain for you. Winds light and variable at 10 knots or less, becoming northwest to north at 10 to 15 knots this afternoon, increasing 15 to 25 knots tonight. Your high temperature today, 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Your low, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. For the southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, becoming variably cloudy and breezy this afternoon. A 10% chance of showers. Winds east to southeast at 15 knots, becoming northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots tonight. Your high temperature, 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and your low, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll have an extended forecast for you later in the show. When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9, home of fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
The Water and Sewage Corporation is rolling out new digital meters designed to give you more accurate readings. With advanced technology, you'll be able to monitor your water usage in real time, get more accurate bills and early leak detection to avoid costly surprises. Better service starts now. Watch for our installation team in your neighborhood and get ready to experience the convenience of digital meters. Follow us on our social media platforms for more information. Digital meters from the Water and Sewage Corporation. Innovative, convenient, and designed for you.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on www.guardiantalkradio.com and the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Guardian Radio is all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Again, I'm Chester Robards. You can join our conversation today. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. Be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. You can email us at morningblend@nascar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. Text us at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply there. You can call us 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. That's toll-free from the Family Islands. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic and business news. We have a special show for you. That's at 9 o'clock in our business hour. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. And in the news, Sarkis Ismailian and CCA. Do you guys care about this story? Are you following it? Is it something that you are interested in? We can talk about that. Government hopeful that agreements with doctors can be signed by February. Hopeful. People charged with vehicular manslaughter. That's probably pretty good. We can also talk about a man accused of triple murder who went on track for months. Well, thank God he was thank God he went in to have his bail conditions modified, which is is it irony that he went to have bail conditions modified but ended up having to put on a ankle monitor because he didn't have one on? Oh, you can't make this stuff up, but it's in the newspaper, so we didn't make it up. Very interesting, right? So he left prison on bail, and they forgot to give him an ankle monitor. But he was in jail. I'd say prison. He was in jail because he had violated his original bail conditions on these 3 murder cases because he didn't check in with police consistently. Then they released him from prison and didn't put on an ankle monitor. Can't make it up, like they say. You cannot make it up. So in this CCA Ismailian case, and I would love to kind of tie this into a wider conversation on how Bahamians feel about their economy and whether or not they own it. But anyway, the big story is a fight between foreigners over hotels in the Bahamas. Yes, that's what I said. So Sarkis is the lead story in the Nassau Guardian, and it's also on the front page of the Tribune. Sarkis Ismailian's BML Properties Limited is accusing China Construction America of stonewalling its attempts to gain basic information amid an ongoing legal fight, and has asked the U.S. Bankruptcy Court to appoint an independent examiner to investigate the dealings between CCA and its affiliates to identify any instances of fraud or dishonesty before and during its Chapter 11 filing. The request came in a motion filed by BMLP in a New Jersey bankruptcy court yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little over the CCA. Personally, professionally, I have to cover it, but I'm a bit over the CCA BMLP fight, if I'm honest. Anything going on? Anything y'all want to talk about? You could call. Let's talk about something. But I covered a groundbreaking, was that this week? This week. For residences, Four Seasons residences on Paradise Island. So lovely. So lovely that something else is being developed on Paradise Island. Bahamians are involved in it in the background, but naturally foreigners stand to make all the money. If someone could answer this question, I thought about this recently. Why has it been necessary? And not all real estate firms in the Bahamas have done this, but why is it necessary for real estate companies to associate themselves with these big real estate firms that are global, who I assume take a decent cut of whatever sales local realtors make in the Bahamas? And I understand that the global marketing, blah, 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 probably is beneficial for a firm. But I'm sure if a local firm was just a local firm, they could find a way to exact their own global marketing initiatives. And eventually there would be no shortage of people coming here looking for a local firm to help them buy property in the Bahamas anyway. Because it seemed it was happening before now, right? And I only bring this up because there was a foreign developer or a foreign real estate developer on the press release for that property on Paradise Island, but like no local name, right? So I always wondered that if somebody's in the real estate world, answer that for me. Why associate yourselves with these big global firms when you could kind of just do it for yourself? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I'm of the view that we depend a little bit too much on big foreign corporations here in the Bahamas to do things that if we got a little bit more creative, we could do ourselves. Yeah? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay, y'all texting in already. You probably want to talk about something different. Obviously. Good morning. Wonder what's going on with the Minas Pintard saga. Gonna be very interesting. Ooh, I almost just bust out a big who cares on you. Oh, I just said it. Okay, so I don't have to say it. Good morning. Has the new commissioner of police presented her crime-fighting plan? What is her plan for drivers who violate the law? Yes, I'm sure she has. And as you saw, well, I don't know what her plan is for other violations of the law. And I wish the police could be everywhere all at once, because I feel like I see violations all the time and nobody's ever around to chase these people down or pull them over or whatnot. I don't know if it even happens, multiple times a day in other parts of the island where I'm not. But I feel like people get away with the most craziness. And people are just driving like wild people on this small island. This morning, this car cut in front of another car, like right at the corner they wanted to turn through. So they came out of the farthest lane they were in the 2-lane road to cut in front of a car to turn through a corner. And I was like, wow. Wouldn't have been surprised if there was a child in the car, because nobody cares. People got these little toddlers who should be in a booster seat in the front seat of the car, in the back seat of the car with no booster seat, standing up in the middle. I mean, I can't believe that's still happening, because you're supposed to get booked for that. Like, you're not even afraid to have this kid standing up in the middle of the car, holding on to the two seats, waiting for you to hit the brake so hard that they fly into the radio. But again, this is the state of people in the country. Let's take some of these calls. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Caller, you there?
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't hear the click, Chester.
Oh, yeah, you on, brother.
Yeah, Chester, I like the real estate issue that you highlighted on, and I don't know, you still write the articles?
I do.
Yeah, but, I just wanted to share this as a Bahamian. I'm getting old. I'm about to, I can't live forever, but I like how you said that, but, sometimes you be on the Google News, on the phone, and you see it pop up, right? There's always an island for sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Exuma Keys. So, I mean, given the fact that some Bahamians will end up turning millionaires eventually, I'm optimistic about that. So I'm saying that if the government really care about the people, and something you said that triggered this in my mind, I think it was a co-op between real estate and the elite companies or something like that. I can't remember it verbatim at all.
Mm-hmm.
But you leaned towards that. And so I was like, why didn't any successive governments, or why didn't they bear in mind that eventually to put a moratorium on selling the islands? Because, my little daughter was maybe 7 years old or 8 years old, and she asked me, she said, Daddy, why did we selling our islands? I mean, every time you look on Google News, there's an exotic island for sale.
Yeah.
It's selling a dream. And even so, if then, sell it for more money than what you're selling it for. Because, I mean, basically, the people could come on the island, do what they want, carry out environmental infractions, put up a golf course, of course, and put all type of maybe, what was the name? Glyphosate, right?
Mm.
Whatever that's supposed to be the chemical ingredients of Roundup, right?
Mm.
And these have environmental factors they call forever chemicals or persistent organic pollutants. So we look at the fallout of just selling out all that before Chester turned a millionaire, or maybe someone else turned a millionaire. You know what I'm saying, Chester?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is what you call pragmatism or being prudent. Then another thing would be, I really would like to comment on this. Given the fact, just to see how expensive the food is, right?
Yep.
So I was trying to figure out why haven't the subjects, the royal subjects, right, amended or updated the 10,000 cash declaration limit, et cetera, and the likes, because $10,000 really, as post inflation, really is basically $5,000. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and just meditating about the evil of the world and the construct of the status quo and the way how it go, I'm saying that why haven't nobody opposed this limit and say, well, maybe 15 or 10, 20,000? I mean, it's like there's always suppression law being upheld against the masses, and people really don't realize that 10,000, come on, man, they should up that, maybe something, but whatever it should be, should up it.
Yeah.
Try and deviate from what master taught you. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then another thing is, I love the text about the traffic. I just want to live until I die. I don't want to go up like Elijah and come down like Zacchaeus, right? Trying to be a little humorous there in this evil time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad the Yanja have the show called The Happy Hour, because sometimes you really need some things, man. This place is in a mess.
Yeah.
People still running around, but jobless.
Mm-hmm.
Just to listen to this, the traffic system, the transportation system, the way we live is indicative of the way we think about each other. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For me at 60, growing up here now, it's really difficult to move around, man. I mean, I don't know. I listen to the people, I hear the cries, but what's going on, Chester? People riding around with no license, no helmet, no insurance, no respect, and no sense.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else they ain't got? I mean, and it's ridiculous. So, I mean, what you should do, arm yourself, be what? They have left us, defend for ourselves. There's no ordinances. You ride through in the city. I mean, let's say you try to take a shortcut. Somebody's in the road standing up, doing nothing. He wants you to say, or they like cars. They like to get in conflict with cars.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
Yeah.
The government can't see they could collect revenue from this venue. People riding around with cell phones, young ladies holding their cell phones in their hands as if it's a model, it's a style. Nobody cares about anybody. The Negro life is invaluable, especially if you're in Combe. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, I feel you.
You have to allow people to express. This place is gone, man. Give thanks.
Yep. Appreciate it. Let's take another call. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Are you there?
Chester Roberts, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning to the Bahamas. just to pick up a little bit on two things, 2 quick points I would like to point out here. Firstly, I am one of those that believe that the Bahamian, any island of the Bahamas or Keys should not be sold to foreigners. Now, leasing is a totally different thing. Mm-hmm. If you want to lease for, as our father of the nation used to do for 99 years, mm-hmm. depending upon the conglomerate or whoever it is, lease the land. You don't sell Bahamian land. Yeah. And right now, as it stands, our children, we got to think about future generations of children, mm-hmm. Bahamian children who would want access to land, or actually parents born in some of these locations, but when they get older, they find that they're pushed out. They don't have no right or say on their particular island. We have to fix the situation. So that's just one thing we need to look at. And then secondly, we talk about road users using driving without, I call it without due care and attention. Mm-hmm. I've seen young men holding babies in their laps while driving. Mm-hmm. I've seen women driving with their babies in their laps while driving, and I have to personally stop them and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Yeah. And they roll their eyes, they cuss you out, mind your, what business, and so on and so forth, as if we are not supposed to be concerned. I mean, that person holding that baby, heaven forbid, if the baby should happen to puke in their lap and they lose all consciousness of their driving ability, they could crash into somebody, they could crash into somebody's vehicle, they could crash into somebody's house. I mean, the list goes on. And same thing with the cell phones. Holding a cell phone even while driving is against the law. So basically where I'm going with this is, with all of these infractions, I know in the United States, they spot everything through CCTV. Mm-hmm. It's the cameras just out here just to spot traffic accidents or to track down where a car went from point A to point B. Where are the cameras being used to see the violators looking in their cars to see persons using phones, persons holding babies not in booster seats, babies not strapped down? Where are these minor infractions, as we would refer to them? Mm-hmm. If we don't correct them from their minor, then when they get major, what are we going to do? Throw our hands up in the air? But anyway, that's all I wanted to contribute this morning.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for taking my call.
Or these people they just never think something is going to happen until it happens, right? And like you say, I see it all the time too. I shouldn't say all. I see it a lot. People driving with these kids in their hands. I mean, babies in their hands. Insane. Let's take another call. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Well, it is Strachan right along with you, Chester.
Good morning.
You ought to agree that the authorities in this country are running a slack country.
I agree that they don't often do as much as they could or should.
They're joking, man, and nobody are not doing anything about it. That's the thing. All the lawyers want to do is make some money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, they should be upholding the law. You shouldn't expect for anything to go right in this country for the way they are, for the way they are governing this country. Slack and nasty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You say that, and it reminds me that we always, I never remember the name of this country. Anyway, a country that we always look to as an example of where we want to go. What is it? Anyway, it'll come to me. But we always look at these countries and their economic growth was great, and Singapore. And they got clean streets and all of this stuff, and the politicians seem to go to Singapore and business people all the time, and they come back and they're like, Singapore this and Singapore that. But they never, ever, ever come back and work really, really hard to put the things that they saw in Singapore in place. Let me tell you, because they've been talking about Singapore since I started working in the media. And we ain't Singapore yet. We singing poor, but we in the name of the country. So let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning to you, Chester, and to the Bahamas.
Good morning,
Just a couple of points. Mm-hmm. You asked about Hubert. Somebody asked about Hubert Minnis. I think Huberman is disappointed that he didn't experience what Perry Christie did as prime minister. And he's seeking to tarnish his legacy if there's any that's left. And the point is that if you actually look at the statistics from the number of voters from when he first was elected in 2012, I think it was about 4,600 individual. He got 2,400 votes, 50 to 53%. Then when you went into the 2017 election, I think his odds increased it went up. And then in the 2021 election, when you look proportionally for the people who didn't come out and extrapolate, you'll see from who actually came out that he lost a 40% support in that particular base. And the question you just have to ask yourself, what would a sitting prime minister seek to do in the 5 years that he would sit in government that he could not mentor or support another candidate in Kalani to achieve? He will not have the power to direct government to do anything in Kalani, just like he don't have the power to direct government not getting a chair. So the question then becomes, do you believe that your position as prime minister serves you with any type of intellectual capital to be able to shape the direction of the country based on your experience without sitting in the House of Assembly? And if you believe that you have to sit in the House of Assembly, then why aren't you doing it now? And so the question then becomes, what is his motives? Considering that the demographics of Kalani is not atypical of the Bahamian people, the individuals, in spite of what the thing, I'm sure those professional business owners and others are looking at his behavior, at the juvenileness of the behavior, as that of not one of a former prime minister. You could take as an example his role model that gave him the opportunity, Mr. Hubert Alexander Ingram, and see the way the former prime minister behaves, even during the 5 years in opposition, and then quietly exiting the scene to exert his influence in the business and political environment. Maybe one Hubert has it and the other one don't. You asked also another question concerning the real estate. The problem is that we are always 18 to 2 decades behind the curve of the tools that's available to us for digital marketing, for utilizing analytics. And even when you look at the fact that Google itself, in the purest sense of marketing, is less than 20 years old. And so is Meta is just about 20 years old in that respect, too. So this is representative of us looking to warm ourselves by somebody else's fireplace, as opposed to believing that you more specifically know the environment for which you live, and you also understand the access to global data to be able to do target marketing in respect to the property you're selling comparative to the people you're targeting. See, one thing about brand and about branding is very, very powerful tool. And I see a fatal mistake often made in our economy where, like, say, for instance, when somebody wants to do something, they want to start a T-shirt. They name the T-shirt after themselves. Whereas, there's even no matter where you are, people say, oh, because Bahamians don't support Bahamians. This is typical of any brand in any market. And so if you want to name it, just CR brand or whatever, just a T-shirt. But if you were to take it and name it CR brand and piece from China, assembled in Paris or whatever else, and put another name on it, and you would still own the brand, there's a chances are if you try to sell a T-shirt for $10, you can't with your name on it. But with this nice French word or some other thing, the exact same T-shirt will probably sell for $200.
Yeah.
And so the question is, are you in the business of making money, or in the business of business, or in the business of self-grandiosement or whatever? Yeah. This is where the power of a brand. If you look at some of the companies, they spend $1 million just to change the shade of color, like Walmart, to change the shade of color and thicken the font on a brand. Yeah. And that's why it's more about establishing a brand as opposed to building yourself.
Quite
And
right.
just one,
Go ahead.
one more thing before I go. This concept that the government is running about this, what is it? The pay for individuals for thing. I don't understand why the government needs to do a survey unless it's intent of trying to still push this down people's throat. And technology today allow the government to pay those who want to be paid bi-weekly and those who want to be paid monthly to remain the same.
Yeah.
This is what technology do. So your survey should be simply sending it and say, but first you should have an education process. And let me tell you what I would do.
We got to go to this break. We got to go to this break quickly.
So this is quickly.
Yeah.
This is quickly. I would just do a online thing that individuals could check, put in their salary, put in all they owed and everything, and punch in the information that will tell them how changing the bi-weekly would affect them and all these other different things. This is what technology does.
Yeah. And
then let the people make the decision. This is what we are. We live in the 21st century.
Absolutely, right. Tech could fix it. Let's go to this break, and Morning Blend will return on the other side.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
It's time for your Morning Blend traffic alert. This segment brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. And in traffic, right now, that old hotspot of Glaston Road looking okay for you. Right up to the roundabout with JFK Drive. A little traffic around the school area, but not too much to talk about. But that old Sir Milo Butler Highway is stacked full of traffic. Traffic backed up all the way past Fire Trail Road, about halfway to Carmichael Road. And traffic is building up on Fire Trail Road in both directions. The westbound lane looking a little bit better. Traffic on Tony Williams Darling Highway as you approach the roundabout with Sir Milo Butler Highway. That's building as well. Traffic backed up past the Seventh-day Adventist Church now. On Carmichael Road, the intersection with Blue Hill Road, traffic is backed up all the way by St. Gregory's Anglican Church. There is a traffic announcement there at Blue Hill Road. That's all the way down by Cowpen Road. Works will take place from Blue Hill Road traffic light heading west to Vinspen Road. That's Friday, January 24th, that's today, to Tuesday, January 28th from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. daily. There will be road works going on there on Cowpen Road. Just so you're aware of that if you're going to be in that area. Eastern Road traffic not looking too bad, not as bad as it usually is. Backed up past Fox Hill Road and a lot of it past Fox Hill Road as you head west. But it does ease up before Village Road. Those are your hot spots at this hour. That segment brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. And it's time for your weather check. A gale watch is in effect for the northern and northwest Bahamas and will come into effect for the central Bahamas by tonight. Occasional to sometimes frequent wind gusts to gale force are possible over all waters in the northern and northwest Bahamas. Mariners and boaters are urged not to enter the Atlantic waters due to an ongoing swell event. Your general situation, a low-pressure system just north of the northern Bahamas continues to shift northeast of the area while dragging a weak cold front southeastward across the central Bahamas. The front will reach the southeastern islands by tonight, and strong gusty winds to near gale force will build over the northern, northwest, and central islands by this afternoon. A high pressure will build across the islands on Saturday, promoting strong gusty winds with gusts to possible gale force along with rough seas. Winds will remain strong through the weekend and begin subsiding on Monday through the remainder of the week. Beachgoers are asked to refrain from entering Atlantic coastal waters due to high risk of rip currents and rough surf. For the northern Bahamas, weather partly cloudy and breezy with occasionally overcast periods, a 20 to 30% chance of rain. Winds northwest to north at 15 to 25 knots. Your high temperature 73 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 70 degrees Fahrenheit. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy and breezy, a less than 10% chance of showers tonight, increasing to 10 to 30% tomorrow. Winds westerly at 10 to 15 knots, increasing to northwest to north at 15 to 25 knots this afternoon. Your high temperature today 81 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the central Bahamas, weather partly sunny, becoming variably cloudy and breezy this afternoon. A less than 10% chance of rain. Winds light and variable at 10 knots or less, becoming northwest to north at 10 to 15 knots this afternoon, increasing 15 to 25 knots tonight. Your high temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, becoming variably cloudy and breezy this afternoon. Less than 10% chance of showers. Winds east to southeast at 15 knots, becoming northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots tonight. Your high temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 75 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll have an extended forecast for you in the 8 o'clock hour. And we'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow behemoth businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, buddy? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do? What does do? Check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner with increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools. Take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
Are you a talented nail tech struggling to build a lucrative business? Well, 2025 is your year to thrive. Join the Nail Coach January 27th at 4 o'clock p.m. A transformative web class where you will discover how professionals attract customers and build successful nail careers. For registration details and to reserve your seat, call the Nail Coach at 646-106. Let this 2025 be your year to thrive.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
I've been up at Penda and I meet him in the showroom. I said, Penda, I just come out of a showroom in Portugal and let me tell you something, them showroom and selection ain't got nothing on yours. Man, I like this stock of porcelain and ceramic tile you got here. What I really like is the range of sizes that come in, 8x48, 12x24, 24x24, and what I really like more than the things I really like is the price. From $275 a square foot to $494 a square foot and all in between. You can't beat that, not even with a 2x4 from Enterprises.
Are you ready to elevate your day with a burst of flavor? Look no further than Dunkin', your ultimate destination for everything delicious. From our freshly brewed coffee that is sure to pick you up, to our signature frozen beverages that will cool you down. And don't forget our mouth-watering sandwiches, made to order all day. Dunkin' has it all. And of course, our lineup of fresh donuts, muffins, and more. Dive into a world of yummy flavors at Dunkin' and bring joy to your day. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Are you seeking exceptional health care beyond the traditional hospital setting? Introducing Doctors Hospital Clinics, your trusted destination for comprehensive care. Our full-service locations provide affordable services through our Loyalty Advantage membership program and NHI. Experience seamless care with our integrated health system, where your medical history travels with you, ensuring continuity of care. Book an appointment today at clinics.doctorshosp.com. We make primary care easy.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
And now at 8:22, it's time for your final look at weather, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. A gale watch is in effect for the northern and northwest Bahamas and will come into effect for the central Bahamas by tonight. Occasional to sometimes frequent winds, gusts to gale force are possible over all waters in the northern and northwest Bahamas. Mariners and boaters are urged not to enter the Atlantic waters due to an ongoing swell event. Your general situation, a low-pressure system just north of the northern Bahamas continues to shift northeast of the area while dragging a weak cold front southeastward across the central Bahamas. The front will reach the southeastern islands by and strong gusty winds to near gale force will build over the northern, northwest, and central islands by this afternoon. A high pressure will build across the islands on Saturday, promoting strong gusty winds, with gusts to possible gale force along with rough seas. Winds will remain strong through the weekend and begin subsiding on Monday through the remainder of the week. Beachgoers are asked to refrain from entering Atlantic coastal waters due to the high risk of rip currents and rough surf. For the northern Bahamas, weather partly cloudy and breezy with occasionally overcast periods. A 20 to 30% chance of showers, winds northwest to north at 15 to 25 knots. Your high temperature 73 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 70 degrees Fahrenheit. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy and breezy. A less than 10% chance of showers tonight, increasing 10 to 30% chance tomorrow. Winds westerly at 10 to 15 knots, increasing to northwest to north at 15 to 25 knots this afternoon. Your high temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 72 degrees Fahrenheit. For the central Bahamas, weather partly sunny, becoming variably cloudy and breezy this afternoon. A less than 10% chance of showers. Winds light and variable at 10 knots or less, becoming northwest 2 knots this afternoon. Increasing 15 to 25 knots tonight. Your high temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 75 degrees Fahrenheit. For the southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, becoming variably cloudy and breezy this afternoon. A less than 10% chance of showers. Winds east to southeast at 15 knots, becoming northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots tonight. Your high temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 75 degrees Fahrenheit. In your extended forecast for tomorrow, weather partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy across the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas to partly sunny in the southeast Bahamas. A 20 to 30% chance of a few isolated showers in the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas, and 10% chance of a spotty shower or two in the southeast Bahamas. Winds northeasterly at 15 to 25 knots in the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas, and northeasterly at 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Your high temperature is 78 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow, and your low 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Your outlook for Sunday, partly cloudy and breezy, a 10 to 20% chance of an isolated shower or two. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 25 knots. Your high temperature 80 degrees Fahrenheit, your low 74 degrees Fahrenheit. That was your look at weather, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. They've got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in store today. And here's a look at traffic, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. Just to remind you of that road work going on in Cowpen Road starting today, going all the way to Tuesday, January 28th from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. daily. Road work will take place from Blue Hill Road from the traffic light heading west to Vinspin Road. That's on Cowpen Road. Looking at the traffic hotspots now for you. Traffic now built up on Gladstone Road as you approach the roundabout there. Backed up to somewhere around Easy Car Sales. So a slow commute for you just now on Cowpen Road. On Gladstone Road. So Malabutla Highway, traffic is still pretty bad, backed up past the roundabout at Fire Trail Road. And traffic on Fire Trail Road eastbound, backed up about halfway to Fire Trail Road, to Gladstone Road. The traffic there at the intersection of Blue Hill Road and Carmichael Road looking a little bit better. It's not backed up as far as it was earlier. Things looking a little better on Eastern Road by Fox Hill Road, but some traffic as you pass Fox Hill Road headed west. Prince Charles, traffic tight between Marathon Road and Avenue. Not looking too bad between Fox Hill Road and Beatrice Avenue though. Traffic on Charles Saunders Highway headed eastbound to Beatrice Avenue looking pretty thick. Those are your hotspots. This morning, this segment of Morning Blend brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow behemoth businesses in the tourism industry. You hear that what they say, buddy? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do? What does do?
Check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner with increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools. Take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
Penda has a new line, the Sky series of porcelain. It comes in 4 colors: Sky Noir, Sky Gris, Sky Glance, and this one, Sky Azure. As the name suggests, you would think it has a strong blue component, but the blue is kind of like just a hint in the overall coloring of the porcelain. The blue feature runs more or less the center of the tile, and that's surrounded by light shades of gray. The Sky Azure, like the others in this series, needs to be seen to be appreciated. Stop by Pender Tile and have a look at Sky Azure, one of the 4 in the Sky series.
This is a public service announcement from CIBC Caribbean. We wish to remind our clients that if they receive a text message from a number purporting to be CIBC Caribbean, remember, CIBC Caribbean will never send you an SMS text message advising that your account has been restricted and it requires you to click on a link. CIBC Caribbean will never contact you over the phone or via an email, instant messaging, or SMS text message asking you to share your username, password, or one-time verification code. Do not click on any link purporting to be CIBC Caribbean received via SMS text message. Stay safe online and be vigilant in your everyday activity.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan. And we're getting into a segment with the Life for Key Foundation. We're talking about scholarships, so listen up if that's something you might be interested in. And we've got some lovely ladies in studio with us. I'll allow you to introduce yourselves and your position with Life for Key Foundation.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chester, and good morning, Bahamas. I'm Yolanda Darville, and I am the lead communications consultant with Life for Key Foundations.
Good morning. Hi, and thank you. Good morning, Bahamas. My name is Kendra Moss, and I am the Director of Programs here at Life for Key Foundations.
All right, welcome to the show. Welcome. Thank you. So I see that things are getting rolling for the year. Is that what's happening? So tell us what that's all about.
Certainly. It's scholarship season is about to be upon us. Mm-hmm. But before I tell you about that, I'd like to just kind of give a quick overview as to who we are for those who might not be familiar with us. So Life for Key Foundations, we're a philanthropic organization, and we were established 50 years ago by members of the Life for Key Club to support the people of the Bahamas. And it's actually comprised of two organizations, the Life for Key Foundation, Inc., which is a registered 501c3 charity in the U.S., and the Canadian Life for Key Foundation, which is a charitable receiving entity in Toronto, Canada. And our mission is to invest in learning opportunities for Bahamian children, families, young adults, and communities who will benefit from them the most. And so we do that by providing programming that includes college preparation and access, as well as community building. And to date, Chester, we have dispersed more than $50 million in the Bahamian community through our programs. So we're here specifically to talk about scholarships, but we also, if given the opportunity, we'd love to mention some of our other programs.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'd love to go through that. I'm a big fan of the work that you do over there. So, so just tell us about some of the other I know there was a high school program that you took high school students or primary school students and you started them off on a nice track, and I was able to kind of be a part of that at some point throughout my life, not in it, but help out just quickly. But tell us about some of the programs you do have going on.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being a part of that and helping to build the children of the Bahamas. So the programs you're probably speaking of, we have some programs for young students. They're called LEAP for students in grades 1 through 4. And Focus for students in grade 4 through 12. So the programs are not the same, but they're similar. And so basically, they're out-of-school time enrichment programs aimed at college readiness and access. So, and it's for students who've demonstrated potential and need. It was launched in 2011, and it's created to serve students who will be the first in their family to go to college. So we get them while they're young, make sure that they're all prepared for college and prepared to graduate high school and then go to college. And Ms. Kendra does a great job of running these programs, so I'll let her speak more about that.
Thank you, Yolanda. So Focus, as Yolanda said, is for students. We're helping with college readiness and access. Unfortunately, as much as we would love to serve all the schools here in Nassau, we are only restricted to 8 schools.
Right.
So presently, we serve the Canberra Primary, Eva Hilton Primary, T.G. Glover, Aubrey Sale, Woodcock, Stephen Dillard, E.P. Roberts, and Uriah Mackey schools. Presently, we are in recruitment cycle for our class of 2033.
All right.
Yeah, excitement. And so, parents, if your child is presently in grade 4 at any of the previously mentioned schools, you should have received a letter indicating that our application sessions for the Focus program will begin as of next week, Monday, 6 p.m. at Eva Hilton Primary School.
Right. And how many students can you take for the Focus program?
So presently we accept only 46 students, 23 boys and 23 girls. And so it is a competitive process. Yes, it is. But you only could be a part of the competition, and I wouldn't want to call it really competition, but you can only be considered if you apply. So parents and students are expected to come in and to complete an application form for us.
And what does that process even look like? Is there like an essay or an interview?
Well, it comprises of several different things, including when students come, they have their own little application form that they fill out, just wanting to know about yourself. And so they are required to write something simple about what is it that you want to be when you grow up? Why do you want to go to university? So we just want to peg their interest into actually going to college, pursuing college. And for parents, we just want to ensure and get a better understanding of the demographics of the home situation.
Right.
And so we do have a form that will ask them some financial information, but everything that we ask on the forms are kept confidential.
Right. And you mentioned that typically they would be the first in their family to go to college.
Yes.
That's
So,
something you kind of look for?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so even in the application form, we ask parents to indicate what level of education have you completed. And that will help us to determine if this child is the first gen within their families.
Right. Typically, you start out with a cohort of 46. Do you end with cohorts of 46?
No, we
typically?
don't.
Yeah.
Nope, not
Yeah.
typically. And that is because life changes for people. And so we have kids that would have left the program either because parents have relocated, life becomes a challenge. And so parents require students to focus more on working and contributing to the household.
Yeah.
And so, and then there are all other sorts of distractions that, well, I wouldn't call it distractions, but other opportunities that kids find engaging that are somewhat competing. And so, but we do tend to follow them just to ensure that they still remain on track to go into college.
Yeah, that's excellent. I've seen these kids in action, and it's always so impressive to see the focus group.
Thank you.
So get those applications filled out, people, and try and get your kid up in there because it's great.
Yes,
yeah?
yes, it is. It is wonderful. We love seeing our focus students. They are so exciting to us, and that's one of the way that Life for Key Foundations is building individuals. And on a bigger scope, we are also trying to build communities through our grants programs.
Mm-hmm.
And so our grant program is actually the oldest program. And right now we are about to award a total of $90,000 in grants to 20 organizations to support after-school programming. So we hope that'll be a great benefit for the community.
Yeah. What kind of programs do you typically award grants to for the after-school programs?
So this time, well, the After School Initiative is a new one for us.
Okay.
And so we are supporting organizations, a lot of them are already existing in the community.
Right.
So we're looking to support like the Boys Club, we're Bahamas National Sailing School to help with building that program, Bahamas Girls Guides, School Counseling Association. So programs, there are a few programs, I mean, that process was a competitive one as well.
I'm sure.
And so it was very difficult narrowing down to those organizations. But again, this is a first. So we're looking to hopefully continue this process during our next cycle for after-school programs.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to reporting on the exciting things that these organizations are planning on doing with our kids after school.
Yeah, excellent. And it's good to know that there are, you said it's a competitive process, so it's good to know there's things for the kids to do after school so they're not getting in trouble. That go. So let's talk about your online scholarship application portal. That's opening soon. Is that new?
So the portal is within the past few years, not too new, but our scholarships, as you probably know, we've been doing since the 1980s. And we provide partial scholarships to qualified Bahamians who are high school graduates who want to do post-secondary study internationally and nationally. So we award undergraduate, graduate, technical, and vocational study awards, and they're renewable year over year, given that you maintain a certain GPA requirement. So as you just said, our scholarship application portal opens in February of each year. This year is February 14th, Valentine's Day. So we're excited to spread love that way. And the average award given is about $15,000. And we also have several named awards, though, that go up to $30,000. And so I'll let Ms. Kendra talk more about the portal and the process eligibility.
Thanks, Yolanda. As she would have mentioned, Love Day is the day that our portal opens. And so all those who are interested in applying for a Life for Key Foundation scholarship, we encourage you to visit the website at www.lifeforkeyfoundations.org. You will be required to, if you've not done this process before, you will be required to create an account, and that account will be done through SurveyMonkey Apply. Once you've created the account, you will be required to do a small eligibility quiz. And the eligibility quiz is our first step to help us to identify if whether or not you are a Bahamian citizen, because that is a requirement. If you are studying outside of the Bahamas, and also if you are planning on studying for more than one full academic year. And so that is the eligibility quiz is, like I said, a very short quiz, should take no more than 5 minutes. And once you have completed it and it confirms that you are eligible, you are invited to a different stage. So there are 2 stages in the process after you've completed the eligibility quiz. And so our stage 1 generally looks at identifying your program. What is it, understanding more about what it is you intend to study, where is it that you intend to study, general information about you personally, just for us to be able to assess basically what is it that you are intending to do, the program that you're intending to do. And then once you complete that, you're moved on to stage 2. And stage 2 is a bit more lengthy, but stage 1 process ends March 15th. March 15th. So the portal opens February 14th. Stage 1 begins then, and it ends March 15th. After March 15th, you moved into stage 2. I must reiterate that you don't have to wait for April 15th to do stage 2. Once you've completed stage 1, you're automatically moved to. Okay. And stage 2 requires a bit more. So the deadline for stage 2 is not until April 15th. So stage 1 ends March 15th, stage 2 ends April 15th.
Right.
And in stage 2, you're required to supply a bit more information. And so during that process, you should be working now to source your acceptance letter, to identify persons to be your reference. You should also be compiling your academic documents, any certificates, BGCSEs, if you have graduated already from a university, having that sort of certificate available. Also ensuring that you have an updated passport. I mean, that is very important. Very important. Mm-hmm. And so during stage 2, what we are looking to assess is that financial need and capacity, academic merit, your field of study, your career goal, and how will it contribute or impact positively to the building of this nation. And also the availability of that program here in the Bahamas. We do support heavily the University of the Bahamas, and so if there is a program that can be offered here, we recommend that students look to pursue that here.
Right.
We also do not, unfortunately, support medical degrees, and so we encourage you to apply to UE for those sort of things, and inclusive of the Bachelor's of Law program.
Oh, okay.
So anything else we can consider.
Right. Excellent. And you mentioned even if you kind of have some college behind you, you can apply for these. So what age range do you see? I've known some older folks who've applied. What are you seeing?
And that's the best thing about Life Wiki Foundations. There is no age capacity.
Yeah.
So for those who fresh out of high school, those who want to go back and refresh their skills, upgrade, we encourage you to apply. As Ms. Yolanda would have said, we also support technical and vocational programs. So those students who are presently at BTVI and just looking to upgrade to a certification, a 1-year, 2-year program, you're welcome as well to apply for Life Wiki Foundation scholarship. Even those that are seasoned in their field but would like to just, make themselves a bit more qualified, you're encouraged. So there's no age.
Yeah.
To
and I'll also reiterate, just as you said, Chester, we have graduate awards as well. So often people have gotten their bachelor's already. They've been working in the work field for a number of years. And as Ms. Kendra said, they want to upgrade or they have a new perspective that they want to bring to the Bahamas. So we do encourage them to apply as well.
Awesome. People are listening, and someone asked about, I guess this is the Focus program. It's for 4th and 5th graders. They want to know what the cost is and how long the program's been in existence. And then they asked approximately how many 9, 10, 11-year-olds know their career path at that age.
Great questions.
So for Focus, like I said, we take them in at the end of their grade 4 year. Focus is an 8-year-long program. So once our students are accepted with us at the end of grade 4, they are with us until they graduate high school. Focus operates for 45 days. So we are out of school learning time for 45 days. They're required to attend 30 days in summer and 15 Saturday sessions. The cost to those Focus students that are accepted is absolutely zero.
Awesome.
Thank you to the donors of Life Key Foundations who assist in facilitating that and allowing us to absorb the costs for these students.
Excellent. I think you answered this question. You don't do the medical field in your degrees. This person says, I received my engineering degree in 1997 with the help of grants from organizations like the Life Key Foundation, Winn-Dixie, and Porco. It's been almost 30 years now, but I never had the chance to say thank you. That's nice.
That is wonderful. And we want to encourage whoever that wonderful person is. You can go to our website, lifeforkeyfoundations.org, or on social media. Give us your contact information. One of the things that I do is profile our alumni so that we can know what's happened to you and how you're contributing to the country. So we would love to hear from you.
Excellent. Yeah, he says, obtaining my college degree has been life-changing, and there are no words to describe how grateful I am to have been given that opportunity. So send them, you should go online, send them your information, and
please.
And we would like to put out a plug for all other Life Key Foundation scholarship recipients, our alumni. We do have an alumni grouping, and we would love to have you be a part of that. So please do reach out, as Ms. Yolanda would have said, lifekeyfoundations.org, our social media pages, or you can email info@lifekeyfoundations.org.
You got some heavy-hitting alumni I know out there.
Yeah, we're very proud of them, very proud.
All over the place.
And we would like to say good morning to each and every one of them.
Excellent. So tell us again about what people need to do if they're looking forward to February 14th, if not Valentine's Day, but the opening of the scholarship portal.
Well, we hope they are looking forward to February 14th for Valentine's Day and for the scholarship. And so, as Ms. Kendra said, the most important thing you can do right now is gather your important documents so that you can apply. You'll need, again, your transcript, college acceptance letter, basic financial information for your family, contact information for 2 people that can be references for you. They will not be, don't ask them for a reference letter, just make sure that they can be contacts because we have our own process for contacting references. And then, go to Life for Key Foundations when the portal opens February 14th. We would like to emphasize we've had some people who are so excited that they have already applied during our testing phase. But we have to say we need you to apply February 14th. So if you're one of those excited people, we want you to download your information so that when the portal opens, you can go and apply the proper way. So remember to complete stage 1 of your application by March 15th. So mark your calendar for those important dates, February 14th, portal opening. Then get that application done by March 15th.
First step.
Yes, for stage 1. And then finally, make sure you follow us on all of our social media channels. That's how we communicate. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website. Those are the best ways to get information and updates.
Excellent. Sounds good to me. And don't forget, guys, to get out there and get prepared. Get your passport in order if you don't have that in order, because you need to travel if you got to travel. Ms. Kendra Moss, Yolanda Darvo, thank you so much for this information. And look forward to seeing you again and hearing more about the Life for Key Foundations and hearing some more amazing. Oh, one more text. Focus program only. Okay, no, never mind.
Well,
you don't have to worry about that one.
Thank you so much for having us this morning, and thank you for letting us share.
Absolutely.
Yes,
It's been a
thank you
pleasure.
so much.
We'll be back when Morning Blend continues after this.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
On Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m., the Bahamar Convention Center will set the stage for an unforgettable celebration of 25 years of giving back and supporting healthcare education in the Bahamas. Experience a night of excitement with exquisite fine dining, captivating live entertainment, and an inspiring atmosphere as we come together to celebrate and shape a brighter, healthier future. Tickets are available now. Reserve your spot today by emailing dhfoundation@doctorshosp.com or calling 242-302-4640. Sponsorship opportunities are also available to show your support for this important cause. The Doctors Hospital Maya Rassin Foundation. 25 years of transforming healthcare and building a legacy. Don't miss this special celebration.
Are you craving that fresh, famous food, but don't want to break the bank? Wendy's has got you covered. You can now enjoy the $5 Dave's deal at all participating Wendy's locations. Enjoy a Dave's single, a classic, or spicy chicken sandwich made with fresh ingredients for just $5 on flavor, just because you're on a budget. Wendy's always offers fresh, famous food at a great price. Certain conditions apply.
Are you a talented nail tech struggling to build a lucrative business? Well, 2025 is your year to thrive. Join the Nail Coach January 27th at 4 o'clock p.m. for a transformative web class where you will discover how professionals attract customers and build successful nail careers. For registration details and to reserve your seat, call the Nail Coach at 646-1206. Let this 2025 be your year to thrive.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Are you seeking exceptional healthcare beyond the traditional hospital setting? Introducing Doctors Hospital Clinics, your trusted destination for comprehensive care. Our full-service locations provide affordable services through our Loyalty Advantage membership program and NHI. Experience seamless care with our integrated health system, where your medical history travels with you, ensuring continuity of care. Stay at clinics.doctorshosp.com. We make primary care easy.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards filling in for Dwight Strachan. And we have a special Morning Blend Business for you this morning. You're going to hear lots of familiar voices. And that's because we have the good folks of CFAL Talks here in studio with us. And they are celebrating a milestone. We don't have any cake today, but we're going to celebrate their milestone, the 100th episode. And here to talk to us about CFAL Talks, we have Angelo Butler, Corporate Advisory Service Manager, Lachelle White, Investment Manager, Richard Pinder, Operations Manager, and Senior Financial Literacy Coach. And we're happy to have you all on.
Yes,
morning.
Morning.
You're no stranger to this place, so so welcome back. And tell us a little bit more. Has the 100th episode already aired, or that's coming up?
Yeah, so no, the 100th episode is actually going to air on Monday, next Monday, at 6:30. So for our listening audience, tune in. It's going to be a great episode. We'll be reflecting on what we've learned over these in the future. And of course, we just want to encourage our listeners to stick with us through this journey as we talk about financial literacy, economic matters, and what's going on in our country.
Excellent. So what have we learned over the 100 episodes? I mean, what kinds of things have you found that the public has been interested in when you talk about financial literacy and the things that you do cover?
Yeah, so one of the things for us is, as Lachelle would probably reiterate for us, when we started the CFAL Talks, we were kind of wondering what we were going to talk about as we started this podcast. And but what we found is our listeners wanted real day-to-day conversations about finances, about economic matters. And so we've just been giving them topics that, kitchen water cooler topics that persons would talk about what's going on financially with our country. How can we, as Bahamians, as persons, with our own personal finances, how we can be better. I think one of the things that COVID has showed us is we have to kind of stay on top of our finances. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to make it conversational and fun for our listeners, but give them information as well.
Right. And speaking of COVID, if people remember, I didn't remember, but this C-File talk started around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So kind of bringing education to people while they were locked up.
Yeah.
Yes. So we started in October 2020.
Right.
We aired our first episode. And like Richard mentioned, when we first started, we were wondering, like, what are we going to talk about every week? But now we're here 100 episodes in. And, we have 100 episodes to go and even more and beyond that. So, yeah, we try to stay on top, especially on the economic side, and just to inform people about what's going on and to really not only give our view, but sort of educate them about things that's going on in the local economy that will affect their personal finances and just their lives, really.
And one thing I would say is, you like Richard and Michelle mentioned, at first we wondered what there's to talk about, and now sometimes we find there's too much things to talk about, right? Because there's always something going on either in the local economy or the global economy, or there's a new topic or a new trend that persons are asking us about on a daily, weekly basis. Oh, should I invest in this? Should I invest in that? And so, we found, I think, a good balance in terms of both the economics as well as financial literacy, and just trying to give information to persons that want and need it.
Excellent. And welcome, Pamela Ferguson, to the show.
Good morning, Jester.
I'm sure people are happy to hear your voice this morning. And congratulations on 100 episodes of C-File Talks.
Thank you. Thank you. We have an amazing team.
Yeah.
We have an amazing team.
You absolutely do.
And I'm proud of them.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
So in terms of how you guys find, because you kept mentioning it, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. How do you find topics? Do you like sit around a table and go, okay, we're going to talk about this today, and then I'm going to say this, we're going to talk about, how does that kind of planning go for that?
Well, from the economic side, we try to focus on topical issues. I always say there's never a dull day in our country.
Oh, boy.
And so we look at what's relevant out there, and then we review and discuss it.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of people are intimidated about information on the economy, and they think it's so over their heads, and they don't understand it. And the idea of C-File Talks is to bring that conversation in bite sizes so that people can understand it, because it's really not difficult. We don't expect persons to go and look at the central bank quarterly statistical digest to find out what the debt is or what revenues what the government earned, but we do that.
Right.
And then we have a conversation that people can follow, and they are following because they would send us a note back to say they enjoyed it and they enjoyed the information and they enjoy following along. So on the economic side, as well as the financial literacy side that Richard would get into, understanding the basics is so important to us, holding our government officials accountable for the decisions that they make.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do, encourage the conversation in those areas.
Yeah. That what you said is very important about helping the public to understand things that they probably don't even know where to find some of the information. Right. You mentioned the quarterly digest. I don't even open that. But it's important, to get an understanding of it. Richard, you
Yes. For the financial literacy, it really comes down to pretty much what we're having here. We're just having a conversation. So we have a lot of conversations in our office in general.
Right.
So when it comes down to what are some of the topics that people need to learn about, or some things that people are asking questions about. So it's based on feedback from our listeners, from our clients, and then it's based on topics that you may have to read a book. Or you may have to look online and try to understand it.
Yeah.
But we want to break it down and make sure that it's conversational. We want to make sure it's digestible.
Yeah.
So the topics really just come from everyday lives.
Yeah.
Everyday lives. Persons trying to manage their finances, trying to live in this economy, and trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So our goal is always just try to give you information that can help you in that journey.
You mentioned holding the government accountable, Pam. How much over 100 episodes have you been beating dead horses on certain topics that maybe you're saying we need this, and things haven't changed?
I mean, I don't think we look at it like that.
Yeah.
We tend to be straight shooters, and each of us on the economic side with our own personality. I mean, Angelo could tell you off, with you probably smiling at him and saying, "Oh, thank you." He has an art of doing that. You would probably know that I'm telling you off. And Michelle is like that balance. She will just bring that reason to it. So we all have our personality, and we don't look at it from that perspective, or we beating a dead horse. We just, like, if this is a topic that's it's in the media and it's trending, and we feel that people could learn more about it, then we go in and discuss it. And we look at ourselves as average people. And so we have these conversations so that the average person out there can relate to. We're not highfalutin. We don't throw those words that people don't understand. It's just like a Wooler type conversations. And that's the idea of what we do.
Well, that's fine if you look at yourself as average.
Yeah.
We look differently over here.
No, we are average people.
And I guess too, I'll just add, I think, a lot of conversations around economic issues are hijacked politically. So they're presented in a way to either make one side look good or one side look bad. And so, sometimes persons say, I brought down the debt to GDP, and, we have to make it known that the debt is still going up, right? So just trying to be a bit more factual, and because we don't have any bias or interest in selling a rosy picture, right? It doesn't benefit us in any way. So we can, take that biasness out or objectivity out of it and just show the facts and make sure persons are aware that, yes, things are, progressing, but at the end of the day, we still need to be making some changes and monitoring certain things on a daily basis.
Yeah. Over the time that you've been doing this, have you noticed a shift in certain things that you've covered? Are people maybe coming to you more, maybe seeing more of something that you've talked about happening in the country, and people getting better at something? Are you seeing a shift?
So I think for me, I mean, I guess the team could speak, but I think for me, the feedback has been great from that perspective. Anytime and you could probably speak to this too, anytime you're behind the mic, you're not sure who's listening, right? And you're not sure what effect it's having on them. But we've gotten feedback from everyday persons. We could be out and persons would hear us talking and they'd be like, I recognize your voice. And they'd start to talk about a topic they'd listened to and how it's helped them and how it started a conversation with them and their families or in their offices and so forth. So, we are always pleased because that's the whole reason we're doing it. I mean, we're not doing it for us. We're doing it to help our country because, as we always say, especially for financial literacy, once persons continue to get more information, it benefits everybody. So the feedback, I think, for us has been great from our listeners and persons alike because they've kind of encouraged us to continue. Because we now know that people are listening and we're seriously. And so it's forced us to be better, more prepared. And I think the whole team definitely can say that it's caused us to do more research because now when we go on the podcast, we realize, okay, people are listening. So you have to be conscious of the message that you're portraying. As Angelo said, we have no biases. So we're just here to give facts and give information. What you do with it is up to you. But we're here to give you information so you can make the best possible financial decisions for you and your family.
Excellent. And what do we have to look forward to for the 100th episode? I know you just give us a little teaser, what we're going to be talking about on that.
Yeah, so for the 100th episode, one of the things that we did, we wanted to just kind of give pretty much what we talked a little bit about here, just how it birthed, how it started, why it started, the importance of having that space. As we know, of course, podcasts, of course, are growing, worldwide, globally. But of course, when we started it wasn't as popular as it is now. So we just talk a little bit about why we started the podcast, the purpose behind it, some of the things we've talked about, why we've talked about them, and we start to look into some of the things we talk about in the future. Yeah.
Okay, good. I know you mentioned hot topics, and what's kind of topical around the local market right now.
So right now, I would say, of course, we have the labor issues that's going on in the country. We've seen so many persons being affected by that. So I think that's something to, of course, I'd bring light to. When we talk about financial literacy, we continue talking about why taking control of your finances is important. There's a lot of topics, of course, as we're going now into a new political cycle. That's something that's coming along as we talk further into the year.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing more topics on that as well. And I'll let our economics team jump in there as well.
So we recently had a conversation about the impact of crime on the economy, and just so that to give light to what, we really have this problem with these high crime rates, and I don't think we sort of connected with what's happening in the economy and to our economic future. So that was something that we thought was very important. I think that, as Richard mentioned, we're going into an election season. So there's going to be, lots of, what do you call it? Non-truths coming out, alternative facts coming out there. So we just want to be that voice of reason and to, tell people, just look deeper. We don't expect that, like as Pam mentioned, the quarterly economic review, we don't expect the average person to go along and read that and understand that. But that's our job. That's a part of what we do at CFAL. So we have that responsibility of putting it into digestible facts for persons so that they can understand and so that they can have an idea that, all that, they may see out in the public is not exactly true, that sometimes you have to look beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And I think, for me, some of the more interesting things we would have recently covered were things like national insurance, the rate increase, making persons understand in terms of reserves and why they're increasing the rates, but also advising persons as well to try and, I think on the financial literacy side, prepare yourself outside of NIB as well, right, as much as you can, which is something we always preach at CFAL, right? Not to just depend on NIB because, it's strained. It already doesn't pay, I think, what persons would consider to be a lot. So, and then we, talk about things like tourism and how the tourism statistics are trickling down. Well, that's a bad word, trickling down through the economy. But, topics like that I found persons were very interested in, and they're very relatable because they're everyday topics.
Right.
And we also give personal stories. I think that's what the difference is. It's not hardcore economics or hardcore numbers.
Right.
There's some entertainment in there, and we give our personal stories when we talk about tourism, when we travel, when we see what is happening, and we compare it to what's happening here. And so we give those personal stories to help make the conversation more relatable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the politicians are doing themselves a disservice by not listening to CFAL talks. If they don't do that, especially with elections coming up.
That.
That's me saying. I'm saying that. Go listen to CFAL talks, politicians. I noticed the CFAL Quarterly Economic Review is talking about what happened in the United States with the election of Donald Trump. Anybody want to mention what that might be talking about? Does it have an effect on the Bahamas and its economy in the long run?
Yeah, so we actually just sent that out yesterday. Like you said. So
we actually did a podcast on that, the effects of after Donald Trump was elected. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, as the editorial just kind of speaks about the perception, right? So there's this perception that under the Republicans, the stock market does very well, or better than it does under the Democrats, and the data just doesn't back that, right? And I think that's all the editorial tried to show, like, based on statistics on average, it kind of does the same under both, right? And again, we reiterated at the end that, the idea is to just continue investing. Don't get caught up in the everyday, politics and back and forth, because in the long run, investing is always the best option. And that's just what we're trying to remind investors, whether it's Republican or Democrats, continue your plan. If your plan is to retire at this age, you invest this amount every day or every month, regardless of who's in power. And I think it's the same locally as well. Persons invest in the local market, and it doesn't matter if it's F&M or PLP or whoever else. In the long run, you find that they do well.
Yeah. Because
I think too, adding to that, like, Bahamians may have preferences when the elections in the U.S. occur. You prefer a Democrat, a Republican, or your preference in political leader. But at the end of the day, we just want the U.S. to do well because then we benefit in some ways. Over 80% of the tourists that travel to our shores come from the North American market, the U.S. So we just want them to do well. We may have our little banter back and forth. We may have our preference and our argument. We have a staff member. We had a managers meeting on Monday, and we have a colleague who's an avid supporter of Trump. And so what she did at the end of the managers meeting was ordered McDonald's.
Okay.
So at the end of the meeting, we had the table little with McDonald's. I haven't eaten McDonald's in like ages, right? Because there's a picture circulating with Trump. I think one time he has a meeting and he had McDonald's. So we have those, and we have those fair conversations. But at the end of the day, when it's all settled, we just want us to do well because it benefits us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a text coming in for you guys saying, good morning, Stephen. Can you ask them? You haven't heard Stephen's voice around here for a long time.
They're still calling you Stephen.
Can you ask them, will CFAL and the government allow regular citizens to purchase foreign shares directly and not have to go through them?
Well,
anybody want to tackle?
For us to purchase shares in the international market, we have to go through the investment currency window. It used to be 25%. So meaning if you wanted to spend, let's say $10,000, you had to spend 25% of that that you paid to the central bank. Then it went down to 12.5%, and now it's 5%. So whatever you want to invest, you have to pay 5% to via the investment currency window to have the authority to invest in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay a stamp tax, which I think it's 1.5%, and then you'd have to pay conversion to invest in the international market. What the central bank has done back in 2007 was to allow broker-dealer companies like CFAL to establish funds. And when you that can invest in the U.S. market, and then you can subscribe to those mutual funds. And the fee, then they waive the investment currency window premium, and you only now have to pay stamp tax and conversion, which works out to about 1.75% that you pay upfront. When you went through the investment currency window, you would pay 5% upfront, and you will get 2.5% when you brought your money back into the country.
And I would add as well, I think, full disclosure, I used to work at the central bank. So they'll probably like me for defending this. But they have done some reforms as well. I know persons tend to think it's a barrier, but in most cases, it's just an application and you submit, and then they get back to you with the approval. And, if you have a foreign broker you wish to use, you're free to do that. But I think they have done some relaxation of the rules, which allow you to just be able to do it. So you can find more information on Central Bank's website about that, the relaxation of exchange control.
I think one of the issue and the argument to something like that is, if you wanted to invest monies overseas, you had to go through the investment currency window. But if you wanted to buy furniture, or you wanted to buy a plane, or you wanted to buy something, you didn't have to pay that money down. You just pay what the conversion was. And so there are persons who wanted to diversify their investments by including foreign currency to kind of counter Bahamian dollars. If something were to happen, they would have to pay that hefty premium. Whereas if you just wanted to consumer spend, you just had to pay the conversion rate.
Yeah. Has investment knowledge been getting better, and have Bahamians started to do more investing over the years? Is that something you've been noticing happening?
Yeah. I mean, we have at CFAL in excess of $1.9 billion in assets under management. These are Bahamians via to pension funds, investment account, the 1.9 billion in assets under management, and I'm sure the other brokerage houses have monies as well. So Bahamians more and more, they are putting their funds away for a rainy day. And I didn't say that for the government to try find a way to tax these funds now. I'm just saying that Bahamians are doing a better job. There's still more work to be done, but Bahamians are doing a better job in saving their monies.
I think we saw a lot of that after the pandemic. Like our funds just grew because a lot of persons were interested in saving monies for a rainy day, because what they saw was that, hey, I wasn't prepared for this. So now they notice that, okay, it's very simple, straightforward for me to gonna do that. So we have seen a lot of interest since 2020. With persons just asking more questions about investment offerings and just subscribing to our mutual funds, even going to other broker dealers and sort of diversifying their investments.
Yeah, I think for me, more persons are just trying to figure out, even your question, the question that was asked, people are looking for options. And I think that's what the main thing that they're looking for. They're saying, okay, based on what's happening in the economy, how can I maximize my money? I think sometimes as Bahamians, their expectations are a little bit unrealistic, but that's where this information, that's where the podcast comes into play to kind of garner that expectation, so you understand what's realistic and what's attainable. But definitely more Bahamians are looking for information and options as to how I can maximize and put my money to work.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I imagine a lot of Bahamians are looking for equity investments that they can participate in. I know Royal Caribbean is supposed to have one coming up. I don't know if y'all could talk about things that might be on the horizon for people to invest in that may be interesting that let's say average Bahamians can invest in, because I think those are the people who may be looking to put some money away and hopefully grow some money.
Yeah. So recently, I think the latest retail offering we did was for the Nassau Cruise Port, and that was really successful. It just paid its first dividend in December of last year, right? And one person said, more, is there anything just like this? But these offerings tend to be sort of rare. We are working on some projects, and when we have sufficient data and information, we always release that to the public. And we do from time to time do some private offerings per se. And the reason for that is, when these projects are first starting, it's very risky, right? And at the beginning stage, it takes 2 years to construct. So we try not to bring the retail investors in until closer to completion of the project, right? So at that point that we did the offering for the cruise port, you could almost see the port already standing there, right? So you saw what you were investing in, rather than us raising money from the average person when the shovel is just going in the ground, right? And there's so much risk involved in the project. So from time to time, we'll do that first raise, do some private offerings, but we do have some retail offerings that we have planned. We're just waiting until those projects get closer to completion. And, usually when we do those, the minimum on them is like $1,000. Which is attainable for persons. And, from time to time, the last one we did, we offered like salary deductions for government employees to make sure they can get in. So we are always working on things. As soon as we have, the documents ready, we release those to the public, go to different places to try and get the word out. So, we just encourage persons to stay tuned to our social media pages for when that information is available.
Yeah, I know there's risk in investing, but I think there's more risk in having your money in a savings account in the bank.
You mentioned about investments for the average, you call the average Bahamian. And I would say to the person, there are 3 main principles. You can add to it, but 3 main principles to building wealth. You earn it, it means you got to work. Hard work bring profit. Much talk leads to poverty. You got to earn it.
That's right.
You save it, and then you multiply it. That's where investing comes in. If you're not earning it and saving it, but then you want to jump in an investment that you may risk all of it, I don't think it's wise. So I think the focus should be earning it and saving it. And then when that opportunity comes to invest it, you get the chance to multiply it. And if you keep that pattern going over time, you'll build wealth.
Absolutely. Some more questions coming in for their lovely C-File Talks group. This person says, the reason I'm asking, I guess this is the person who's asking about purchasing shares. They would like to build their portfolio for their business outside of the Bahamas so that they can raise capital to expand and grow the business.
Yeah, they can invest in the international market. They just have to go to the investment currency window and pay that 5% premium.
Hey, morning. Ask Pam, what are the parameters to open a U.S. bank account?
Well, I don't think Bahamians are technically supposed to have Bahamian U.S. bank accounts, so I'm not sure. Without central bank
approval. So there are persons, if your friend is telling you they have a U.S. bank account, they probably have the central bank. And I'm just being facetious.
Okay. but I mean, it's interesting because lots of Bahamian kids go away to college and open a U.S. bank account, and they keep it.
They keep it. But the central bank can say to you that they should know. So there are people who, I hear people travel to the States with money and open accounts. Yeah, but you really need the central bank approval. But it doesn't really have a major impact to us right now because we don't pay taxes in the sense that U.S. persons do.
Right.
If you have money stored somewhere else, then you're not accounting for that money, then that could create a problem. So we don't pay income taxes, and so you having your money in a bank account in the U.S., they say they should know, but it's not dramatic.
Yeah. Speaking of trending topics, moving into 2025, do you have any idea what kind of big, heavy-hitting topics you want to focus on? I know the IMF was talking about economic growth, and I see you mentioned it in the quarterly economic review, of course, trending downward. We always try to figure out, and the politicians maybe don't answer the question properly, but how do we improve our economic growth? We always, tourism numbers are up, yes! Okay, economic growth going down. No. Why?
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of policy and sort of opening up the economy for the everyday Bahamian to thrive. That's what we miss. And we always, see in the news businesses complaining that inland revenue is sort of combatively coming after them. And, I think that if we don't if the policymakers don't put sufficient policies in place to allow businesses to grow and thrive and to allow the average person to grow a business, they can't contribute to the economy in that way. So they'll probably become a burden on the economy in terms of needing social assistance and whatnot. So I think it just comes down to a matter of policy and a matter of opening up the economy. We spoke about having to, go through the central bank to get, the 5% premium and sort of get approval to do what you would think would want to consider to be a relatively simple thing. So all of these are likely can be seen as barriers to hindering our economic growth. And I think that we also have to, I know the politicians aren't going to, but you have to rein in spending a bit, unnecessary spending. And I always am of the view that, debt isn't bad, but you have to have productive spending. You can't have debt and then you're just paying salaries, which is basically what we've been doing. So we see on one side, we're spending money, we're pumping money into education, we're pumping money into healthcare, we're pumping money into national security. But these things aren't really working for us because the policies in place aren't good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Angela.
No, I was just going to put on my Republican hat to say interestingly, I think you're starting to see now where I think government's hand is a bit tied in terms of you're seeing the government have BPL partner with private sector more, because the government at this point, again, you say things like debt to GDP is going down, but the government debt stockpile is still going high and it's still becoming increasingly more and more difficult to find funding. So, BPL, we know they have old equipment. The government doesn't have the capacity to upgrade it at this time, but they finally accepted that and now are trying to work with the private sector to reform it. So I think fixing those inefficiencies, particularly in these government corporations, because electricity is really strangling the economy, right? What your light bill is for some people is ridiculous. For businesses, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So imagine if you had efficient, and on top of it, it isn't reliable. So you have to now go and buy generators as a business, spend all this money. And if you had efficient, cost-effective electricity, that alone, I think, could stimulate the economy probably 1-2% per year. So I think it's things like that. And finally, we're starting to see them accept some of that.
Yeah, and we discussed in our last podcast about crime. Crime, the impact of crime is about 4.75% of our nominal GDP. That's upward to like $600+ million. Dollars, and that's private and government. So that is having a negative impact on growth. And then we look at the high level of debt, and we to about 600 million, which is one of the largest expenditure item for the government. That is also having a negative impact on our growth rate. And then, like Angelo mentioned, the government is partnering. So the government is partnering with private companies to secure reliable and affordable energy. And they're not putting any money up. And we know the port was done by private investors. And what is the government doing with the money? For capital expenditure, why we still don't have the infrastructure that is needed to deliver efficient and reliable services to the public. So there's a lot of stuff in there that we just continue to do, one administration after the other, that is causing this growth rate to be the way it is. And to me, it's like schizophrenic, because they would say, every administration come in and they would say, it's good, it's good, it's good. But then it's not, because we keep it's getting worse, right?
Absolutely.
And so for me, they are the challenges that we have.
Ladies and gentlemen, CFAL talks for Prime Minister 2026. We got to go to a break, but we're talking with the good folks who put on the CFAL talks. They're going to air their 100th episode on Monday. And this is the kind of information you get with CFAL talks. It's great information, unbiased information, the truth about the economic pocketbook. We got to take a break, and Morning Blend Business will continue on the other side.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is a public service announcement from CIBC Caribbean. We wish to remind our clients that if they receive a text message from a number purporting to be CIBC Caribbean, remember, CIBC Caribbean will never send you an SMS text message advising that your account has been restricted and it requires you to click on contact you over the phone or via an email, instant messaging, or SMS text message asking you to share your username, password, or one-time verification code. Do not click on any link purporting to be CIBC Caribbean received via SMS text message. Stay safe online and be vigilant in your everyday activity.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
100 episodes, that's right. CFAL Talks has reached a huge milestone, and we're celebrating in style.
From expert tips to groundbreaking economic insights, we've brought you the best in finance, investing, and so much more.
Now, we're turning up the volume for the next 100 episodes.
Don't miss the fun, the knowledge,
and the power of great conversations.
Tune in every Monday at 6:30 p.m. to C-File Talks, the podcast you can't afford to miss.
And welcome back to Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan. And we are talking with the good folks who put on the show C-File Talks that you hear here on Mondays for you to listen in. You can't afford to miss it. So we're just kind of going through some of the things that happens on the C-File Talk show. And if you want to find past episodes of C-File Talks, where can you get those?
Yes. So all of our past episodes are available on our C-File website, and they're also available on Spotify. So feel free to check them out. One thing that we always say is they're short and sweet. Mm-hmm. They're 30-minute episodes or 25 to 30-minute episodes. You could listen to them while you're on your drive to work in the morning. You can listen to them after work. You can listen to them as you're at the gym. So wherever you are, you're able to listen to them. And we feel that that time goes so quickly. You listen to it, you just want more. So we encourage persons to check out the past episodes. There are, as you see, it's 100 episodes. So there's so many topics we've covered. So much information you could learn. I mean, things you might even surprise yourself that you thought you knew, mm-hmm. and now you got more information on it. You have more information on it. So feel free to check out our past episodes because we've given so much information in the past, and we'd love, of course, always love to hear from our audience and our listeners because we're here to help you. We're here to serve you. So we always want feedback and topics that you want to hear from us, things that you may be hearing and that's going on that you may. Just like we joked about earlier, you're getting different views and opinions on it, but we love to hear from our audience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Any kind of, I don't know, new things you're thinking about for C-File Talks, about covering, you mentioned furniture, Pam. How to decorate your house on a budget. I don't know.
No, but for this year, we probably would have more social media exposure, more bite-sized episodes on social media. We have the equipment, but we have been stalling. Paige has been pushing us to try to go on camera. We're like, okay. We're like, Paige, we manage money. We're interested in all of that glam. So we're probably going to push for more of that, little small bite size on YouTube and digestible information that people can.
I mean, that's where people are consuming it right now, right? So that would be real good.
Yeah, and building on what we have done over the past years.
Yeah. Question here. Pam said that crime is 4.5% of the GDP. Can she specify what percentage of that is? I'm not going to read the rest of that. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about the texter who asked about investing in the U.S. Is that kind of telling that he wants to look outside of the Bahamas to grow money for his business to expand? What does that say to you?
Yeah, I think for a lot of persons, it boils down to diversification and not wanting to have all their eggs in one basket. Locally, the Bahamian stock market is very tiny. We have about 20 stocks listed on BISX, the Bahamas International Stock Exchange. BISX has done actually very well since the pandemic, as you had all of those companies sort of rebounding. But I think what we're hearing when we hear from people, they sort of want to diversify their assets and they also want to earn more. The U.S. stock market has been doing very well over the past few years. I think at one point the S&P was up like 20%. In 1 year, so it's been doing well. And then on a long-term average basis, over the past 30 years, it's been up on an average of about 10%. So I think that persons want to, get on board with those earnings, especially as Bahamians, we do consume a lot of U.S. products. So you want to sort of be a part of those things which you consume. But at the end of the day, I think it's most about diversification, not having all your eggs in one basket, and wanting to have opportunities to invest in that are not available here at home.
And I would add, and I always caution persons as well to understand, right? The more return you get, generally the more risky, or there's kind of some correlation, right? And interestingly, I remember before the pandemic, I think the year before COVID hit, our global equity fund may have done like 17% in a year. And everyone came rushing in. Oh, we need to get into this. And then COVID hit. And the U.S. stock market went down 40%. Like, I need to get my money out, right? And so just make sure you understand that just as much as you see it can go up,
they can go down.
U.S. and international markets are extremely volatile. And any given day, it happens very quickly. I remember we met like March 1st and everything was fine. By March 15th, portfolio down 30%. And for some persons, you think a lot of people say, I like risks. I like to take chances. And then when you wake up and realize you put 10,000 in something and it's only worth 6,000, your stomach doesn't feel very good. It's not something to go to sleep at night. So make sure you understand what you're investing in. Make sure you can ask persons, if this falls by 50% tomorrow, will you be fine? Do you need to make any life changes? And that really tells you whether or not that's something you should be investing in.
And if you follow the principle of earning it, saving it, and multiplying it, then you wouldn't get in that trap because you are constantly putting money towards investing, and you're looking at what you're investing in and not just taking a lump sum you probably got from some inheritance or some ASU and going to invest it.
Right.
And then if something happens to it, you are dramatic about your decline in return. So it has to be something that's consistent. And you're investing based on your risk tolerance and what you are knowing where your risk tolerance is. When my first job I started, I had a small amount come out of my salary every month towards an investment account. It was a tiny bit, right? And as I would get an increase, I would increase the amount that went to my savings or investing account.
Right.
And I do that today.
Yeah.
Every month. So I probably don't know what's in my investment account in terms of like how much I actually have.
Right.
But I know when an investment becomes available, because when the money goes into the investment account, it goes into our bond fund.
Right.
It sits there until an investment opportunity becomes available. And if I like what's out there, I say, okay, take X amount out and put into that investing.
Right.
And that happened because I was consistent over the years in putting aside a small amount and keep growing it to put into that account. And so then my investments can multiply.
Yeah. But eggs cost $8 now.
We always caution persons, especially when they're considering going into one of our international funds. We always say, well, make sure that you don't need this money for any day-to-day expenses, and we always tell persons to also make sure that they don't have any consumer debt. Like, you don't want to go ahead and be like, oh, I'm going to invest in this product and it's going to earn me 10%, but then you have credit card debt that's charging you 17%. So we always caution persons to have a budget, look at your finances, and be realistic about your savings and investments, and try to get rid of any debt that you may have first.
And on the eggs thing, when I was in the food store a couple of weeks ago, I normally buy the Planters peanuts, right? They cost like 10 something, right? And so this guy, he was there, he says, you could get these ones, right? They're cheaper. And I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that. And they were causing cashews, and they were like 6 something. And the only difference is I like the lightly salted Planters peanuts, but they had the regular salted, all the salt in it. But I still now kind of like mix it. I will get the non-salted cashews and mix with those that cost $6 and some cents as opposed to $10 and some cents. So I'm saying that to say, sometimes we have to change our taste, and to do the best we can. So if your egg that you were getting is now, if you like Eggland best and they charging $9, then well, maybe go to the Blue Cartoon and get it.
It costs $8.
The Blue Carton is
that's the cheapest one. That costs $8. So, yeah.
Well, there's something in that store that company costs.
Yeah. But I think,
change your taste.
Like the Prime Minister said, it's all about your choices. But I do think on basic items like bread and eggs, it's some persons really don't have a choice, and that always come to me at the cost of living in the country is so high. And so, it's easy for us, I start calling eggs chicken caviar now because it's so, it's so expensive. And, persons sort of rely on that, making breakfast for their kids or people who have bakeries to use it to bake. So it just goes back to the high cost of living that we have in the Bahamas. But I did know that the Prime Minister said that he would reduce VAT on food items, not stuff you buy in the deli, but food items to 5%. Good start. So we'll see how that works, and we'll probably do a podcast, podcast on it. So stay tuned for that.
And I'll just add I guess too, this shows the importance of not having money just idly sitting by, right? Because a lot of persons come to us, I have $10,000. I had this in the bank for 5 years, nothing. And that money can't buy the same amount of stuff it could have 5 years ago. But if you invest it at a rate that exceeds inflation, you generally can retain purchasing power. So, it's not a perfect solution, but you cannot have money just sitting in the bank doing nothing when inflation goes up without fail every single year as long as we're alive.
And if Trump delivers on his threat, then we're going to have some additional issues with higher costs.
And if you had $10,000 in the bank, it wasn't $10,000 after it was sitting in there, I'm sure.
Exactly.
It was plenty less. I don't know, maybe. Exactly. Is the Trump administration going to cause y'all to have to talk a lot about cryptocurrency this year? Is that something that people should be?
We had a podcast on that. Yeah. We had a podcast on cryptocurrency. For me, is an alternative investment. It's like gold and derivatives. It's alternative. You don't take all of your money and put into risk. Yeah. They can be like what we discovered in the Bahamas. They can be telling you're investing in something, but not necessarily. So I say caution. If you have some money to burn, and if you were to lose it and it's no big deal to you, then try your hand at it. But if it's your hard-earned money that you want to multiply, then I say stay clear of it.
I think for me, I think the funny thing, unfortunately, is that Bahamians, we talk a big game, right? In terms of the fact that we see and we hear what's going on in the market, and we hear this hot new item or this hot new investment, and we see how well it's doing. And so we want to jump right into the deep end of the pool, as they say. But as soon as, like Angelo said, we lose money, then we start panicking, we start calling people. And so when it comes to, like Pam said, alternative investments like cryptocurrency and things like that, where it's deregulated, I think that's one of the main things that persons have to understand, meaning that there is nobody to go to.
Right.
So if it loses money, there's nobody to cry to. There's no, regulator to say, hey, I lost X. No, you've lost that money. There's no getting it back.
Yeah.
And so I think for Bahamians, they have to really, really do just be cautious, because they say they want these 20%, 15%, but they don't, like I just said, they don't understand what goes into that, the level of risk that goes. And the fact that I think another reason why we get into so much problems too is the ability to get your money back.
Right.
I think any investment you make, especially foreign investments, you have to understand how am I going to get my money back from this investment? Yeah. And so you have to be careful with those kinds of things. And it comes down to doing your research before you invest. Yeah. And so if it's one thing that we always say is ask questions before you send your money. Don't send your money and then come to CFAL, persons like CFAL, asking questions. The money's already been spent.
Yeah.
The ship has sailed, as they say, and you can't go back.
And to be wary of the online scams. And that point that Richard made. Yeah, I had a friend who it happened to, and she called me after the fact for advice, and I'm like,
what are you supposed to do at that point?
I can't see you getting this money back.
Yeah.
So be very careful when you take your hard-earned dollars and send it overseas. There can be some real life challenges.
Trump coin could leave you eating a value meal from one of them fast food restaurants, possibly. This person in the last couple of minutes says CFAL needs a product that small businesses can invest into as a group to expand our business, even if we scale them in various sectors to have ready available cash to inject for expansion. What can you say about that?
Well, we have our mutual funds. Just a minimum investment of $1,000 for our local mutual funds, and we have monthly redemption subscriptions. So it's your money. You can invest it as a group, or you can invest it as an individual. And when you need access to it, you just apply and you get it. So that's one of the avenues.
And I would say just give us a call, because we could, if we discuss it and understand exactly what's being what the objective and goal is, then we can tell you whether or not there's something specific or guide you in a certain direction. So, we'll anytime and we can give information.
Yeah, excellent.
But then you can't charge us too if that advice work out the way you want it.
Oh boy. There's supposed to be a junior stock market popping up at some point, right? There's conversations around it that could be good for small businesses eventually, right? That might be something y'all talking about this year too. Hopefully.
I think that's been in the air for a few years. I know there's an example of it in Jamaica where they have companies where you can raise, say, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, smaller amounts. I think this is something BISEX was working on, but I'm not sure exactly where the process is at this time.
It seems like it's similar to crowdfunding. And like with crowdfunding, you just got to be careful. You got to be careful when you release your funds to make sure that it's going to a reputable institution and you can get it back when you need it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Any final words for the people out there? 100th anniversary of CFAL Talks coming up on Monday. So you got to listen in.
Yeah, no, we just would encourage once again audiences and listeners, if you have not heard of CFAL Talks, our podcast from CFAL, please check us out. Like we said, our past episodes are available on Spotify website, www.cfal.com. Feel free to check those episodes out. We encourage persons to not only listen to these episodes for information, but of course, you'll be able to get a better understanding of finances as well. So there's a lot of topics that we cover. And the main premise of it is to give you information so you can make better financial decisions. As we've been saying throughout this segment is we want you to make better financial decisions, because when you do better, our economy does better. And so we just want everybody to be continuing to do better financially.
And thank you for the support. Thank you for all the notes and the support that you give us. We really appreciate it. Thank you, listeners.
Angela? Yeah.
No, I just say, and I think, all ages can tune in. Some persons, I've spoken to persons who are 70, 75, and they say, I wish I knew this information a long time. But, now they're able to help their grandkids and their kids and, kind of the next generation as well. So I think this sort of information is important for all ages, no matter where you are on the spectrum. So we encourage everyone to tune in.
So we appreciate everyone listening. When we first started, we didn't know, what we would talk about or if anybody would listen to it, but we do appreciate everyone listening, and we're just looking forward to continuing to put that relevant and important information out there.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on your 100th show, and we look forward to your 100 more. So for coming and sharing with us on Morning Blend Business. Pick up today's business section in the Nassau Guardian. It's brought to you by CFAL, Growing Wealth for Future Generations, of course. And I might be back with you on Monday. We'll see. It was a pleasure holding it down for Dwight. And God bless. Have a great day. Be good to each other. On the Clock with Aaron Green's up next.
Double the holidays with Scotiabank, and you could win your share of $28,000 this Christmas. Just spend $300 or more on your Scotiabank credit card, and you could be the lucky first prize winner of $13,000, or the second prize winner of $8,000, or the third prize winner of $5,000. Win big and claim your share of $28,000 when you shop with Scotiabank this Christmas. Promotion ends January 27th, 2025. Draw date February 17th, 2025. Visit bs.scotiabank for more information. Conditions apply.
You work hard for your money, so let your money work hard for you. With as little as $1,000 to start, you can watch your money grow by investing in CFAL's Bahamian dollar and US dollar mutual funds, each tailored to match your unique investment profile. Our expert advisors are dedicated to crafting personalized investment strategies to help you achieve your financial goals. Don't miss out on the chance to earn higher returns on your hard-earned money. Join the thousands of investors who trust CFAL and start your journey toward financial